The shout tore through the quiet cabin like a knife. Who let him sit in business class? Every eye turned toward Daniel Ward. Poor-looking, weary, dressed in a worn jacket patched at the elbows, with shoes so thin the outline of his feet showed faintly through the soles. In his arms, his 7-year-old daughter, Lila, clutched a patched stuffed bear, her wide eyes reflecting confusion and fear. A woman, sharp in designer clothes, laughed mockingly. Business class, and they let people like them sit here? Others joined in, whispering, smirking, recording with phones. The air seemed heavy with contempt, as though their very presence was contamination in this polished cabin. Daniel crouched beside Lila, hands gentle on her cheeks. "Sweetheart," he whispered, "not everyone understands kindness yet. But that's okay. We do." She nodded, trusting him completely, the way children trust a parent's quiet strength. No one in the cabin could know the truth. Daniel was no ordinary man. At 36, weary and tired, he had once carried the Call Sign Falcon-12, coordinating F-22 fighter squadrons, guiding life-or-death missions, and making decisions that saved countless lives. His silver badge, hidden in his pocket, had opened doors generals only dreamed of passing through. The flight to Nevada was not a vacation. It was a military summons, classified, urgent, and non-negotiable. And now, amid the judgment and mockery of strangers, the man who had once commanded the skies and saved soldiers was simply a father, trying to protect his daughter from the cruelty of the world. The cabin lights flickered. The hum of the engines shifted. And then, a voice crackled over the speaker, "Emergency passenger with Call Sign Falcon-12. Please identify yourself immediately." For Daniel, the moment of reckoning had arrived. For everyone else, the truth was about to shatter everything they thought they knew. The whispers spread quickly. A businessman in an expensive suit muttered, "Flying business class with a backpack like that must be a mistake." A woman dripped in jewelry wrinkled her nose. "How can they afford this? Clearly an error." Daniel heard everything. He always did. When you live in a world where judgment is constant, you develop an acute awareness of every sneer, every whisper. But he said nothing. He helped Lila into her seat, buckled her in, and made sure her bear rested comfortably in her lap. "Daddy, do people dislike us?" Lila whispered, "Not everyone understands kindness yet, sweetheart," Daniel said softly. "But we do. That's what matters." He looked around the cabin. Expensive clothes, polished shoes, smirks of superiority. And there they were, people convinced that wealth equaled worth. Meanwhile, Daniel's worn jacket, patched backpack, and patched shoes told a different story, a story of struggle, resilience, and quiet heroism. 3 years ago, his life had changed forever. His wife had died in a car accident, leaving him alone to raise Lila in a small, working-class apartment in Detroit, where sirens sang the nightly lullaby and hope felt like a luxury he couldn't afford. His work as an electrical technician barely paid the bills. Night shifts, weekend jobs, extra hours, all to cover Lila's medical expenses. Her asthma medication wasn't cheap, and now, this flight. Not a vacation, not a family trip. A letter, marked urgent and classified, had arrived months ago. "Bring your daughter. Coordinates provided. First-class seat assigned." Non-negotiable. Business class passengers whispered again, some laughing outright. Lila's bear slipped from her lap and rolled under the seat ahead. A woman deliberately kicked it further away. Lila's face crumpled. Daniel retrieved the bear, brushing tears from his daughter's cheek. "It's okay, baby. Everything's fine." But nothing about this moment was fine. The passengers saw only the surface, the worn shoes, the patched backpack. They didn't see the man who had once coordinated desert strike operations, guided the Terran extraction, and calculated trajectories that saved lives. They didn't see Falcon 12. The cabin speaker crackled, "Attention passengers, we have detected an encrypted military signal originating from the business class cabin. Priority level communication. Any passenger with active or former military clearance, identify yourself immediately. Silence fell. Eyes scanned the cabin, searching for uniforms or badges. None met their expectations. Daniel's hand brushed his pocket, resting on the silver F-12 badge. It was a passive transmitter, pinging military frequencies, and apparently, fighter jets were close enough to detect it. Falcon-12? Are you aboard this aircraft? Lila clutched his hand. Daddy, what's happening? Daniel crouched, voice calm. Sweetheart, just stay close to me. He rose slowly, letting the badge catch the light. The pilot's eyes widened. No way. Falcon-12? Daniel took the radio handset. Quietly, steadily, Falcon-12 confirming. Daniel Ward. The cabin froze. The business class passengers who had mocked him now stared in disbelief. The radio crackled again, thick with emotion. Falcon-12, you saved my men in 2018. 7 came home because of your calculations. Thank you. Outside, 2 F-22 Raptors banked and then rolled in perfect aileron formation, a salute. Fighter jets, lethal and precise, saluting a man in patched clothes, worn shoes, and the eyes of a tired single father. The businessman who had scoffed at Daniel's backpack went pale. The woman who kicked Lila's bear began to cry. Alara Quinn, the CEO, sat frozen, guilt written across her face. Lila tugged at her father's sleeve. Daddy, are they doing flips for you? Daniel knelt beside her, cupping her face. They're saying hello, sweetheart. That's all. But everyone's looking at you differently now. In that moment, the mockery, cruelty, and judgment of strangers became a profound lesson in humility. Passengers began apologizing. The businessmen offered to pay for anything Daniel and Lila wanted. Others left chocolate and new toys for Lila, notes of remorse and business cards offering help. Alara stood last, trembling. Mr. Ward. I judged you. I was cruel. I see now I became the person I swore I would never be. Daniel smiled gently. You don't need to apologize to me. Apologize to yourself, for becoming someone who judges before seeing the truth. And next time you see someone struggling, treat them with kindness. That's how you make it right. Even the flight attendants, ashamed of ignoring them, became attentive. Lila played with her new bear, oblivious to the lesson unfolding. Outside, the Raptors maintained escort, a visible reminder that Daniel's past mattered, and that heroism doesn't always wear a uniform in the moment the world sees it. When the plane landed at Nellis Air Force Base, Daniel and Lila walked hand in hand through the terminal. Military personnel saluted. Lila looked up at her father with awe. Daddy, were you really that important? Daniel knelt, eyes level with hers. I did important work, yes. But the most important thing I ever did was become your father. Nothing else comes close. She hugged him tightly. I'm glad you're my daddy. Back in Detroit, life returned to its small, ordinary rhythm. But something had shifted, not their circumstances, but how Daniel carried himself. Falcon-12 was resting, but he was reminded that every choice mattered, and that the invisible heroes among us often walk unnoticed, in worn shoes, with patched jackets, and hearts full of courage.